All right, traders, I wanted to share with you my upcoming swing trading plan for NVIDIA stock. I do believe the stock market is going to continue to have a pullback for the short term being, and I am planning to buy some put options on NVIDIA stock. So within this video, I'm going to go over the key price action analysis for NVIDIA stock. It's going to give you a better understanding of how the strategy works. It's going to give you a better understanding on when to be long biased, when to be short biased for the short term price action of NVIDIA stock. I'm going to walk you through the put options that I'm planning to buy. I'm going to walk you through where I'm planning to enter, where I'm planning to set my stop loss, where I'm planning to set my price target, right? And in terms of me not posting lately, there really hasn't been much for me to post about, simply because I haven't seen that many good swing trading opportunities as of lately. Ever since I sold my BBBY call options for a 345% profit return, I really haven't seen that much opportunity in terms of swing trading options. And that's mainly what I've been doing as of lately, is just swing trading. But with that being said, I'm going to share with you my upcoming trading plan. And I've also been working very, very hard behind the scenes in the back end, creating Trader Society, in terms of, creating the chat room, in terms of creating, the video lesson library, the membership site, right? All of that good stuff. So that's going to be launching very, very soon. Stay tuned for that. And let's get right into the plan for NVIDIA. So in terms of NVIDIA, I do think we are going to continue to pull back for the short term. I'm going to walk you through the key levels here in terms of the moment. But what I'm doing in terms of this strategy is I am playing for this gap to fill. There's a gap to fill below right here at $265.98. That's where I'm aiming towards in terms of this swing trade. In terms of the put options that I'm planning to buy, I'm going to be playing it safe, and I'm going to be getting the November 26th contracts, and I'm going to be staying very, very close to in the money or at the money. So I'm going to be looking at the $295 strike on the put side, maybe slightly out of the money at 292.5, but those are the contracts that I'm going to be looking into, because I like to play it safe within that sense. And let's go over the key price action analysis for NVIDIA. So this recently ramped up from 190s all the way to 320s. And then here's where things really start to get interesting, right? So here's what I want to kind of point out. Let's take a look here at this chart's price action. So we had this gap up right here, and then we had this massive rip with really, not much support. It was just a massive spike overall in terms of this price action. But what I kind of wanted to point out is, let's just disable extended hours here so you can visually see what it is that I'm talking about. So in terms of this overall price action, we have this gap up, this massive spike, not much support. It's kind of just floating on thin air until it pulls back and finally forms some support right here at $295, right? So your key support level is at 295. That's where that's where we're gonna call your key support level right here at 295. Key support level of the channel. Your key resistance level of the channel is gonna be 310 to 313, right? So what I want you to focus on is NVIDIA has this massive gap up, this massive spike with not much support. It's kind of just holding up on thin air at this point. And then it forms the channel right here from 295 up towards $310. And then you could see on this day, it ends up breaking out, but it breaks out, from a gap up. And you could see once it breaks out, it quickly pulls back. And then it starts to turn your key support right here a day after it breaks out. Your key support at 297 is now starting to react as a resistance level. And this morning, this fell all the way down, breaking that support at 287, trying to fill this gap that's waiting to fill below right here at 265. So if I were to analyze this price channel, here's what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing an attempted breakout, right? When it gaps up, it attempts to break out, but then it fails to turn your previous resistance right here at $313 into support. That's your key resistance level with nice downside potential to 295, right? It fails to do that. It turns it into resistance right around here. Then it starts to pull back. And then you could see it starts to turn these previous closing prices into resistance, forming lower highs. You can see the high of day was literally at this blue line, turns it into resistance. So if we're looking at this overall bird's eye point of view of this channel, what seems to be happening is we have a failed breakout attempt, and now we have new lower highs that are forming, and we also have support that is cracking. So I'm leaning more towards on the bearish and on the put side, as this is kind of holding up on thin air since it had this big move for the gap up from the 266 range, right? And you have this key support right here at $295 with very nice upside potential as it went from 313, which is now reacting as a resistance level. So when you see a key support level with nice upside potential starting to react as a resistance level, see how it's starting to react as a resistance level. Let me show you the extended hours price action as well. With this being said, see how it's starting to turn that key support level where it went from 295 to 313. Now it's reacting as a resistance level. Now it's starting to decline. It already attempted to crack twice today. Well, it's starting to look bearish. And it looks like we're going to start to see, it's not going to happen right away. It's going to take some time, right? But it looks like we're really starting to see an attempt of, it's breaking down out of its channel to fill the gap below. That is what it is that I'm seeing. It's as simple as that. In terms of the daily chart, it's looking overall bearish as well. These candlesticks right here are looking bearish. This is not a good candle right here as it's climbing down. It looks like we're going to be seeing a nice gap fill to 266. Now, in terms of, how long can this happen? I think next week. I think it's going to happen next week, right? So those are my thoughts. That's my analysis on it. Now, in terms of when to buy the put options, here's what I'd want you to focus on. Focus on these two key levels. Focus on right here, 290, 440. That's your first level. So if this gaps up tomorrow, then I would look to buy the put options towards this resistance level. So if you see this gap up tomorrow, I would look to get in towards this resistance right around here towards the lower 300s, right? Now, if this gaps down tomorrow, so see how it gapped down today, what I would do is I wouldn't chase it. I would wait for it to spike back up and fill the gap. So, if this gaps down tomorrow, the gap, previous closing price would be at 294.40. So if you see it gap down tomorrow, I would wait for it to spike back up, and then I would look to buy the put options towards 294.59 towards that resistance level, right? So very, very simple. The plan is to, buy put options. If it gaps down tomorrow, buy the puts. Once it goes back towards 294, if we see it react as resistance. If it gaps up tomorrow, look to buy the puts towards 305 to 306. It is as simple as that. That's kind of my plan. I'm already convinced that, the bears have taken control of this channel. They're truly showing some strength at this key level. And yeah, I really think it's going to continue to overall have that downside motion to start to fill the gap below, but it is going to take some time. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on it. I would say by next week, we're going to fill that gap from, $266. And just remember to use confirmations. Don't just get in purely based off of when it's at that price. Look for bearish candles, look for your trading signals, look for the confirmations, look for the bearish confirmations. So I gave you the key price levels. From there, it's just simply using your bearish signals, your bearish confirmations to get in. Once you see those, then pull the trigger on the trade, right? So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on NVIDIA stock. Once we get clear confirmation, which we already starting to are, but once we can really turn 295 into resistance level, and then once this cracks 287, things are really going to start to get ugly. That's when we'll be heading into the 270s. But overall, next week, I think we're headed into the 266 range to fill the gap, which is going to be a great price to get out of the position. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on NVIDIA. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll keep you guys updated on this swing trading plan.